Tonight, the Atomic Voodoo Lounge podcast and Heavy Sixer Productions are proud to present a review of the new movie Backrooms by Amy of the Wandering Soul podcast. This is a spoiler-free review, but I will also be posting a discussion that Amy did with Corey that includes spoilers. So if you already saw the film, you might want to check that one out. Everybody's talking about these back rooms. Very scary, very liminal, neither here nor there, like most of our lives. Amy from the Wandering Soul podcast volunteered to go watch this Backrooms and report back with Corey in a sort of conversational movie review.
Hi, I'm Amy from the Wandering Soul podcast.
And I'm Corey.
And we're here today to give you our review of the blockbuster film, The Backrooms, directed by Kane Parsons. The budget for this film was $10 million. And the soundtrack was by, and this surprised both of us, Kane Parsons and Ido Van Brennan. Do you want to give us a little summary? Or
Yeah, it's so it follows the main character. His name is Clark, and he is recently divorced and living in the furniture store that he owns. And he comes across a sort of like a different dimension in his store, like the entrance to a different dimension in his store that is just this huge labyrinth of basically just like office space and other weird liminal areas.
very liminal.
Mm-hmm. And his therapist is the second lead character. And yeah, is that all I should say? I don't know.
Well, she does end up following him into the back rooms where hilarity ensues.
Yes.
Indeed. Clark is played by Chiwetel Ejiofor. I'm sorry, we don't mean to mangle this poor man's name, but it's a rough one. I think he's kind of an up-and-coming actor. His performance, what did you think?
I think that he really shined when he was doing solo scenes by himself. When he discovered the Backrooms for the first time. And there's also a monologue from him at the end that is really good. But I feel like during his scenes with, I think specifically his therapist in the therapy office, I feel like they just felt sort of, I don't know, they fell flat to me. I feel like it just really felt like he was acting. And I wasn't entirely convinced in those moments.
Okay. I agree with you to some extent. I didn't feel necessarily that way the whole way through. I thought he did a fine job.
Yeah.
The problem I had was with his therapist character, Mary, played by Renate Reinsve. To me, her performance fell very flat. I know that she's playing a therapist, and in the sessions, she's keeping it very straight-faced. But otherwise, even when she's out in the world or in the back rooms, it felt kind of like she was holding back. Maybe
I'm not sure if that was so much about her acting or if it was the writing of her character, because I feel like a lot of the things there could have been more explored with her, I think.
Well, she's a trauma repressed person. Had a difficult childhood. We get a little bit of her backstory. Clark is a person who is going through a great deal of anger. So they are both, in a way, kind of stuffing their feelings. holding back on a lot. And part of that plays into, I think, the plot of the story, right? Their memories and that idea of trauma kind of becomes exposed in the back rooms.
Both of their respective reactions to being in the back rooms, I think,
Yes.
show sort of the sort of characters that they are.
Okay, so we had discussed the sets a little bit. I forget how many square feet of back rooms they actually made. Do you remember? It was some ridiculous amount. But it's all in the very pale wallpaper that, if you've seen the YouTube videos, you are very familiar with.
Which previously, when Kane made those videos, they were all CGI, which was also very impressive.
Really?
That he made all of those.
Oh,
yes.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, no. None of that was a physical space, I don't think.
Wow.
They were 30,000 square feet.
30,000 square feet of set. And apparently even, like, the crew workers and stuff were getting lost in them. But the thing that is interesting to me is, you know, there's a very liminal look about the back rooms. But in the film, when we are outside of the back rooms, it's still really liminal. The furniture store where he works has got that look. The place where his employees look.
It was interesting because I couldn't really quite tell what time this movie was set in the beginning. What time period? Until his employees came in and they were dressed like normal, like Gen Z young adults.
Yeah. Well, part of that idea of liminality is to evoke a kind of nostalgia, right? For maybe something you haven't even experienced.
Yeah.
But it was very curious to me, and I wondered why that particular decision was made to make the outside as liminal as the inside. Apart from that, the soundtrack, we both agreed.
Incredible.
Really incredible. Did we discuss that already?
I'm not sure.
Yeah. Sorry for repeating ourselves, but Kane Parsons did the soundtrack.
Also, Ido Van Bremen.
Bremen, I think. Yeah.
Bremen.
And if you listen, you can hear part of the OG soundtrack from the YouTube videos in the film, which I thought was really, really kind of cool and interesting. Really cool. A good callback there. What else did you like about the film, or dislike?
I'm not sure. I feel like I love the absurdity. I love the scene where it was him like walking in, running away from that creature, and there was a scene that felt very like kind of like Lynchian, where
really?
There was a creature that came out. I don't want to say too much, but like it just felt that way. It was very surreal in a lot of parts, which I enjoyed.
I mean, a lot of the movie is surreal and it has that other world dimension kind of thing to it. So one thing that we discussed immediately after we saw the film was, do the back rooms symbolize something? If anything.
Mean, absolutely.
You think they do?
Of course they do.
Why?
I feel like it was very obvious how a lot of parts of it were inspired by AI, and how things are copied onto each other, and to the point of being almost unrecognizable, like boiling down to their like very simplest parts.
So in the film, when you're in the back rooms, there are places that are somewhat recognizable, but they get reduced. There's a really memorable scene where we are looking at a room and we kind of scroll down as though we're going underground, but it keeps going. But in each of the scenes of the same room, it's like everything is sort of melting into the floor until it becomes entirely changed and it's pretty much nothing.
Yeah.
So maybe that how would that relate to AI? Just the idea that...
The idea, well, if you put a picture into AI and then you copy it using AI, and then you copy that copy over and over and over, it eventually gets boiled down into the most simple part of that original image.
Okay.
Like, it focuses in on something.
Okay. Which, and we don't want to give too much away, if you see and think about what happens to Clark in the film, that kind of eventually happens to him as well. We also talked about how it's kind of like work-life balance, maybe? Because my question was, why does so much of the back rooms look like a freaking office?
I feel like it's either because of that or just because there's a lot of office spaces in the world. I feel like maybe it's the most... Do you think it's the most common building other than houses?
I guess. I don't know. So, well, if I want to push that idea, what I come up with is that idea that all we're basically doing is working. You know, some people work 2 or 3 jobs, and that idea of a work-life balance just doesn't exist. So in the back rooms, everything is sort of work.
Yeah.
Or at least the setting of work.
Which sort of reminds me of Severance in a way, now that I'm thinking about
wow, yeah. Oh, no. That would be
similar.
That would take us into an entirely different tangent.
Also just thinking about Severance, the office in Severance is also kind of a labyrinth.
It's labyrinth,
very similar.
And it also has that liminal feel.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yes. We did talk as well about how the back rooms might symbolize that idea of trauma or repressed trauma, and how that operates with our memories. We don't want to spoil too much, but both of these people, Clark and Mary, have separate issues that they're dealing with. I mean, Clark is an angry...
Yeah, they have separate issues that they're dealing with
person.
In very different ways.
Yes. So Clark will act out on his anger in some ways, but Mary just kind of keeps it all in. The back rooms could be somewhat of a representation of that.
Representation of your mind, I guess, sort of, in a way.
The way the mind functions in that it is selective in memory and will maybe choose certain elements
to focus in on.
Okay.
I think so.
And if we were going to do spoilers, there would be a way to talk about how this is represented in the film, but I don't know.
You'll just have to see.
You'll just have to go see it. Well, what's your rating? Out of 5?
I think I'll give it a 4.
4 out of 5?
Yeah.
And why are you subtracting points?
I just feel like I wish more was explored, and some of the scenes, some of the character writing fell a little bit flat to me, I think.
Okay. Yeah, I also went with a 4 out of 5. I mean, there were definitely a couple surprises in there that I did not see coming. But I also felt like more could have been in there, could have been done.
Yeah.
The Backrooms itself, now the YouTube series, it just became this huge
phenomenon. Yeah.
And I do feel like, there could have been a little more looked at there. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, well, go see The Backrooms if you haven't already.
Yes.
And this is Amy, again, from the Wandering Soul Podcast.
And I'm Corey.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Thank you, Amy and Corey, for that lovely discussion, spoiler-free. But guess what? They also recorded one with spoilers. So later on, I'll be posting both the spoiler-free and the spoiler-filled review of Backrooms as AVL short episodes, so stay tuned. This spoiler-free review of Backrooms by Amy of the Wandering Soul podcast was included in Season 2, Episode 12 of the Atomic Voodoo Lounge podcast. If you liked what you heard, please visit AtomicVoodooLounge.com or search the Atomic Voodoo Lounge on your favorite podcast app or service. Thanks for listening, and please spread the word about the Atomic Voodoo Lounge's mix of speculative noir poetry, fiction, and spoken word. In addition to the words, the AVL also has the beat. We play a variety of mood-inducing music, including surf, exotica, jazz, blues, and more. Copyright 2026 by Heavy Sixer Productions, LLC. All rights reserved. And remember, AtomicVoodooLounge.com.